This time, we're going to be looking at all the hype surrounding quantum computing. Got some pretty interesting sources for this one. We've got market analyses, tech deep dives, and even a little warning from a legendary investor. Really what we want to figure out here is this the start of a real tech revolution, or is it just hype inflating a bubble? One thing that really jumped out at me, that stock market has been on a roller coaster lately. Rigetti Computing, Quantum Computing Inc., IonQ, all these quantum computing companies, their stocks went up thousands of percent.
Yeah.
And then right after NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang, said a few things, boom, they plummeted.
Oh, yeah. It's been wild for sure. And it just shows you how much excitement there is for quantum computing, even though the tech isn't really there yet.
Right, exactly. So first things first, what's causing this huge investor frenzy? Are these companies just betting on the future or what?
Pretty much, yeah. The potential of quantum computing is massive, though. Imagine being able to solve problems that would take classical computers, even supercomputers, billions of years to figure out. Like, for example, Google's Willow chip, theoretically. It could do a calculation in 5 minutes that would take a supercomputer 10 septillion years.
10 septillion. Wow. I mean, that's basically forever. But what makes quantum computing so different from regular computers? It's not just about speed, right?
No, not at all. It's a whole different way of computing. Quantum computers use things like superposition and entanglement to process information in a way that normal computers just can't.
Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me.
Think of superposition like this. Imagine a coin spinning in the air. Until it lands, it's both heads and tails at the same time. That's kind of the idea behind superposition. A quantum bit can be in multiple states at once.
Okay, that is pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So where does this entanglement thing fit in?
Entanglement, it's like an invisible link between two bits. Even if they're far apart, what happens to one instantly affects the other. You measure one and boom, you know the state of the other one right away.
So are they like communicating faster than the speed of light?
Well, not exactly, but it's definitely a weird thing that's got physicists scratching their heads. And it's that entanglement that gives quantum computers their crazy power. When you entangle a bunch of bits, you can create these huge interconnected systems that can do calculations in parallel way faster than any normal computer.
Okay, but let's go back to this market craziness. These companies, they're mostly being valued on their future potential, not what they're selling right now. And then you've got Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, saying that real working quantum computers are still decades away. That's got to be a reality check for investors, right?
For sure. What he said got a lot of people talking, and for good reason. NVIDIA is a big deal in computing, especially AI, which is actually pretty closely tied to quantum computing. So when Huang says something, people listen. And he's basically saying, we need to chill out a bit. Quantum computing is still in its early stages, and there's a lot to figure out before it's something we can all use.
So when those stock prices tanked after his comments, take IonQ, for instance, they're projecting some good revenue next year, like $41 million, but their market cap is still around $10 billion. It seems like investors were reacting more emotionally than logically, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. The market can be all over the place, especially with new technologies. Investors get caught up in the hype, drive the prices way up, and then when the hype dies down even a little, everything comes crashing down.
So is this what they call a bubble? Like what happened with the dot-com bubble back in the late 90s?
It could be, yeah. That's where Howard Marks comes in. He's a really successful investor, co-founder of Oak Tree Capital, and he's known for predicting these market bubbles. In a recent memo he wrote, he basically said, we shouldn't assume the good times will just keep rolling.
It sounds like he's speaking directly to the people pouring money into quantum computing without really understanding the risks. What exactly is he warning people about?
Well, he's talking about how investors think. When everyone thinks something will just keep going up in value forever, like tech stocks or real estate, they'll pay crazy prices for it, and that creates a bubble. But eventually, reality hits, and the bubble pops.
Okay, so how does this relate to what's going on with quantum computing right now?
Well, we're seeing some of the same signs of a bubble. Sky-high valuations, everyone going crazy for it, and a big gap between the hype and what's actually happening. Quantum computing might have huge potential, but it's important to remember that it's still a long way from being something we use every day.
So basically, don't get swept up in all the hype. Do your research before you invest in anything. Got it. But there's another technology that's changing things right now, artificial intelligence. It might not sound as futuristic as quantum computing, but it's already having a real impact, especially in healthcare.
Absolutely. We're seeing more and more healthcare companies partnering with AI companies to develop new drugs. Like, for instance, Novo Nordisk, a big pharmaceutical company known for their weight loss drugs. They're working with Valo Health, a company that uses AI to speed up drug discovery.
Interesting. So why are all these pharmaceutical companies suddenly so into AI?
Well, you see, the traditional way of discovering new drugs is really slow, expensive, and risky. It can take years, even decades, to get a new drug out there, and a lot of them fail along the way. AI has the potential to make the whole process a lot faster, cheaper, and more efficient.
So AI is like a booster shot for innovation in the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
Can you give me some examples of how AI is being used to develop drugs?
Sure. AI algorithms can analyze tons of data, molecular structures, patient records, clinical trial results to find promising drug candidates. They can predict how well a drug will work, what side effects it might have, and even personalize treatments based on someone's genes.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like taking the guesswork out of drug development. And it's not just Novo Nordisk doing this. AMD and Absci were working together. NVIDIA is partnering with Amgen and Recursion Pharmaceuticals. Even Decode Genetics, a part of Amgen, is building a massive supercomputer with NVIDIA's tech for genomic sequencing.
Yeah, it's becoming clear that AI isn't just a trend, it's a big shift in how we approach scientific discovery. And while quantum computing might be the ultimate goal, AI is a crucial step along the way, letting us tackle problems that were basically impossible before.
So what we're seeing is two cutting-edge technologies coming together, quantum computing with its massive potential in the future, and AI making big changes right now. It's pretty exciting to follow all this, but we've got to stay informed and not get carried away by all the hype.
Couldn't agree more. Critical thinking and a healthy dose of skepticism are key, especially in a world where technology is changing so fast.
Well said. And that brings us to a big question. If quantum computing is still decades away, what other tech advancements should we be paying attention to right now? What's brewing under the surface that could be the next big thing?
That's a great question. It's like trying to figure out which seed will grow into the tallest tree. There's so much happening in tech, and it's changing all the time.
Okay, let's play a little game of future forecasting then. Based on what we're seeing in these articles, what areas have the potential to be the next big thing?
Well, one area that's really interesting to me is where biotechnology and AI meet. We've talked about how AI is changing drug discovery, but it goes way beyond that. Imagine AI-powered prosthetics that work seamlessly with your body.
That's some serious sci-fi stuff. But it's not that far-fetched, is it? I mean, you've got companies like Neuralink working on brain-computer interfaces.
Exactly, and that's just one example. Another area to watch is advanced materials. Scientists are creating materials with properties that used to be impossible materials that can heal themselves, change shape, or are stronger than steel but lighter than a feather. The possibilities are mind-blowing.
Wow. I feel like I'm living in the future already.
Mhm.
So we got AI-powered biotech and supermaterials. But like you said before, predicting the future is tricky. There are no guarantees.
Very true. That's why it's so important to be skeptical and think critically about these new technologies. Don't just believe the hype.
Right, do your research before you jump on the bandwagon.
Exactly.
Now, let's bring it back to our main topic, quantum computing.
Mhm.
We talked about all the hype, the ups and downs in the market, how it's probably still a long way off. But even if it takes decades, the potential impact is so big that it's worth paying attention to now, right?
Absolutely. And one of the key things to remember is that these tech advancements don't happen in a vacuum. Quantum computing, AI, biotechnology, materials science, they're all connected and influencing each other in big ways.
Like a big web of innovation.
Exactly. And as these fields keep developing, we can expect even more unexpected breakthroughs and new ideas coming from different fields.
That's a great point. It's easy to get overwhelmed with all the information out there, but if we focus on being curious and thinking critically, we can not only understand what's happening, but also help shape the future.
You got it. And who knows, maybe someday we'll look back at this conversation and say, remember when quantum computing was just a dream?
Or maybe we'll be talking about the good old days before AI took over the world. Just kidding.
Well, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about.
Yeah, we definitely have. It's a lot to take in. We covered the quantum computing craze, the potential bubble, AI in drug development, and even peeked into the future of other emerging technologies. So as we wrap up our deep dive into quantum computing and AI, what's the most important thing our listeners should take away from this?
I think the key takeaway is that the future isn't set in stone. We create the future through the choices we make, the actions we take, and our willingness to engage with these transformative technologies in a thoughtful and responsible way.
I like that. The future is full of possibilities, both exciting and maybe a little scary. But ultimately, it's up to us to shape that future.
Exactly. So let's embrace the challenge, stay informed, and work together to build a future that benefits all of humanity.
Couldn't have said it better myself. To our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it insightful and thought-provoking. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep shaping the future. Until next time.